Are you wondering how you can contribute to Funniest Thing?
Don't flip out. Go to patreon.com/funniest thing.
Whoa!
Oh!
That would have been crazy.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing,
Yes.
where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Boy, does it ever.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
I forgot who I was.
That's not the first time.
And we are broadcasting live from CHOBO Studios.
In beautiful downtown Van Nuys.
That's right. Today's a great day to encourage yourself. What, Ed?
Be all you can be. Just like you said, we often forget who we are. We forget that joy is a part of the equation. But today's show is called Be All You Can Be, with the amazing Jennifer Meloni coming in during the second segment. Every moment we have the choice to either free ourselves or stifle ourselves. We stifle ourselves every time we let fear motivate us. I better do what makes me look good. I better give them what they expect. I better play nice to get what I want. Rather than being motivated by fear, we can choose to trust in God and confidently take steps in the direction we are inspired and enthused to go. On this episode, Darrell and Ed inspire us to be all we can be by living with a sense of faith instead of self-protection. I gotta meet this Darrell and Ed guys. They sound amazing.
They're sober. What happened to the two that are on the air?
During the second segment, Jumpin Jennifer Meloni, former Tustin High School cheerleader, assures us that life is a safe place to step out beyond our doubts and concerns with today's reading. Remember your crown.
Your crown.
Yes.
Oh, man. You know what I originally wrote on this description?
What?
But then I thought it was too harsh. But after last night,
Oh my God.
me forgetting, be all you can be doesn't mean to push and shove and should yourself to achieve.
Right.
It means be all you can be is like letting go of the self-imposed nonsense, the pressure, comparing yourself to others. So originally I wrote on here, every moment we have the choice to either free ourselves or kill ourselves. Because that's what it feels like when we stifle ourselves. I was feeling like death last night. And it's amazing how just one silly thought can lead an avalanche of what do you call it, recriminating or
incrimination?
It was just horrible.
Condemnation. Yikes. Why don't you tell people how to be a member of the Funniest Thing Club?
Which is actually the antidote for everything I went through. And that is to remember that we're a group of truth enthusiasts who live each day as ambassadors of God's love. As we consciously radiate love, we perform everyday miracles and experience better than expected outcomes.
Yes.
If you're already living this way or strive to, then you may consider yourself a member. We motivate one another by simply sharing how miracles occurred naturally in our circumstances as the result of living lovingly and expectantly.
Yeah.
Living lovingly means lovingly towards yourself.
That's right.
Not just trying to make everyone else feel okay.
Right.
Am I going to jump into the readings, or are we?
No. Let's get a few things out of the way.
Yes.
First of all, when you said that, it made me realize we're members of like the Fonz's gang, man. Like, this isn't some membership drive. This isn't some put on your pantsuit and go to some stuffy meeting. This is the real deal. This is remember the Fonz was able to bang a wall and turn on a jukebox, for crying out loud. This is mysticism.
Yeah, I'm glad all our listeners are over 50 so they know who the Fonz is.
Arthur Fonzarelli, baby.
Hey!
Another fake Italian in Hollywood. We were just talking about Billy Joel, another one. But anyway, they're great performers, and it makes my Italian heritage proud to know that others want to rock the Italian image. At least they did for a while there. So let's see. We want to bless our Patreon contributors.
Yes, thank you, because you're actually helping us spread this information, continue to spread this information, and make it easy for people to listen to it. They don't have to go anywhere special. They don't have to pay anything or join up or sign up. They don't have to give their email. That you're actually a part of helping share this information, all these metaphysical and spiritual teaching in a very convenient way. That's what your donations help us continue to do this, so then you could share it with anyone easily.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. We got a letter recently. I mean, we have no idea who's listening, who's benefiting.
Right.
We do hear from a lot of you, the ones who have the courage to reach out, and then they realize we're harmless and they continue to write, and we appreciate all of you. But it's always exciting to get a note or a text, not a text, but an email or a comment.
Yep.
From people we've never even knew.
It's incredible.
And they usually tell us we got one. I thought I was just kind of maybe setting it up. We received that one on the other day. It was on YouTube.
Right. Oh, the one from YouTube. Let me see if I can dig that up while you're talking here.
So I read it, and it was a listener to the show, literally a listener, because she says, "Oh my goodness, I've listened to all your episodes on, or many of your episodes. I'm paraphrasing it. It'll dig it up, but she said, and now this is the first time I'm seeing it on. On YouTube.
It was Elizabeth Washington, and she loved it. I can't find it at the moment, but I know exactly. Yeah, she actually loved watching it.
So that was really a nice thing to hear, because it made me realize." We have no idea how many people are benefiting.
That's right. We go through the Reels, through the YouTube, through the podcast apps where you're listening. I mean, I give some love to my cousin Joe, who I just found out listens in the morning.
Isn't that crazy?
Help him get on track. My wife was talking to him. I love cousin Joe. He's an amazing
Why
human
is
being.
it shocking when people close to us, we find out, listen?
Well, what's amazing...
Because we're always like, they're not going to listen. They know me. It's like, you know what? It's like what they said about Jesus.
What?
Who ever heard of anything good coming out of Nazareth? Remember, that's what the locals said?
That's right.
Because the people closest to us tend to, it's Darrell and Ed.
Right.
So it's always like, holy cow, you really listen? Like baristas we know tell us, I listened to the last one. And I go, you listened to this? Yeah, I listened to every episode. I'm like, oh my God.
My assistant Ryan, who he's moving on from my school. We had we had an emotional goodbye, and he said, "Well, guess I'll just have to keep listening to your podcast." And I was like, "I didn't even know you were listening to the podcast."
It's the greatest compliment ever.
Yeah. So let's just what we're doing now too is magnifying and multiplying the value of those contributions, because the place to magnify and multiply is within our own mind. When we appreciate things in our own mind, we feel more, because we can, like what was happening with me with my job, working with kids for so long, I was just putting it down, not appreciating. It's easy to do because that environment's not exactly that focused on appreciating and blessing. It's like quite the opposite at times. But because I've said, I don't have to be here, I'm choosing to be here, and I've started to actually just value the relationships that are there, and just the fact that I'm going there and I'm putting in this energy, and the fact that it's starting to magnify and multiply that good within my own mind is very empowering. And yesterday was the last day of school, and this is the best end of school I've ever had. I wasn't burnt out. I was actually feeling quite good. And that our principal, it was like we stepped back into like the 80s when things weren't, 70s when people weren't so scared of everything.
Yeah.
The principal had a countdown over the PA, 10, 9, and I was in the garden yelling with my friend, Mr. Rob, who is an amazing substitute teacher who really helped me this year. I have my arm around Mr. Rob, 10, 9, 8, we get to 1. And literally the doors flew open and the kids just came running down the stairs.
Yeah.
Kids arm in arm, crying. We're like hugging each other. All the teachers. It was like the most beautiful experience. And I don't think I would have experienced it if I hadn't been working using these principles and magnifying, multiplying the good, approving of myself, letting go of worrying what anyone else is thinking, and just being myself, man.
Well, it's also because it was honest, meaning the principal wasn't afraid to admit that it feels great that this is the last day of school for all of us.
Yeah, we made it.
Because most people in those, well, we can't say that.
Oh man, that happened at a meeting the other day. This is another reason I was on fire. We had this like inclusion team meeting with these great teachers, and the district wants an inclusion team at your school. So we're like, all right, this will be great. But then it was just like some outside agency that was paid a lot of money to come in and like
a success coach.
They gave us a bunch of data that was meaningless because it was irrelevant to like, it didn't even reflect our school, and it didn't. There's this whole thing, and everyone in there is just slowly like wilting. And finally, and then the activity was going to be like this really like standardized goal setting thing. And thankfully, my friend Abby, who's just an amazing teacher with a lot of experience, she's a little bit older than me. She spoke up and said, "This just feels like box checking. It's like there's some real things going on that we thought we were going to have a discussion and talk about." And since she opened it up, I was like, "Abby's jumping in. I'm jumping in too." So I started sharing just what I shared here. I was like, first of all, you gave us a bunch of data that doesn't even apply to our school. There's nothing we can do with it. And I said before, they used to be that we were the doctors. Like, you ask us, like, no one's asked us, what do we need? We are inclusive. We're like, no, but, like, we have this experience, but no one's asking us, what do we need? The last thing we need is someone else to come in now and tell us. So whatever, I was just sharing very honestly and a little spice in there, like my wife says. And by the end, the lady's like, we never even made the goals. The person was like, oh, my 415's in the waiting room. Gotta go. But the joy and the truth and speaking our truth and not being afraid to speak our truth and not thinking it's like it's disruptive or bad to speak our truth, to be all that we can be, it brought us all together as a team. And like everyone, that added to the feeling of like excitement together at the end.
Well, that's the thing. It's what that's saying. They meant it for bad, but God meant it for good.
Yeah.
But it's only because someone was willing to just not, like we read in the beginning of the show, with the motivated by fear instead of motivated by our I want to say inspiration, but it's more than that. It's being all we can be, because it's the truth when we're honest. Like, everyone loved that day at school because no one was pretending that we can't be overly joyous that it's the end of school.
That's right.
That we all want to be out of this place for the summer.
Yeah.
Because people tend to stifle. Oh, what will they think? I mean, we can't act like that.
Yeah,
it's okay for the students to think that. But that's what causes hell on earth. And the fact that someone spoke up, and then that kind of opened you up, your confidence.
And then I had the willingness to jump in with it instead of just leave her hanging. Like,
Yeah, because you were going with the inspired. You were letting faith motivate you instead of fear.
Yeah, because I don't want to work anymore in a place where I can't speak the truth about the very thing we're doing. If I can't share the best stuff that I have regarding exactly what we're doing, I don't want to be there. That, like you said, is hell on earth. By the way, Joan Rose said she got on that Patreon prosperity class that we've been doing on Tuesdays. That's one of the things that for Patreon contributors. By the way, it's patreon.com/funniest thing if you want to jump on that. She said, great show. Joan said, great show today. Been listening to all the prosperity workshops, and they are so welcome in addition to the regular weekly show. Thanks for doing them. And we really just do it as another way to stay in the flow with these principles, because we have to constantly be reminded. It's not Darrell and Ed like, oh, in 19 so-and-so, we were struck by lightning, and since then, we never have doubts. We never, no, every day, multiple times a day, we have to be reminded. We have to remind ourselves, remind each other. I have to call Indy. I have to call Darrell. Darrell calls me. We talk to Stephen Tom Thorpe, text with Meloni, whatever it is, but it's a constant reminder to get back in the flow with this
good.
stuff.
We got good readings to support this too today.
If you want to send us anything, funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. What do you want to do? You want to do a ring while I grab these postcards? Because I have some in my bag from Grace. You want to, since you're chomping at the bit, which is actually a great idea, you want to read
well, we could, yes.
Joseph?
We got,
whatever
we got a couple good rings that go along. Because what are we?
I'm going to grab the postcards while you read.
Where are they?
In my bag. Right
oh, wow. He's leaving the set. If you're listening and you're not watching on YouTube, you'd see Ed just left me alone. He abandoned me. So anyway, this is from a book. Ed actually heard this earlier, so he knows what I'm reading. This is from a book. It's something new. We may have read something from this.
I think maybe last week or somewhere recently you may have read from
on the Prosperity Call.
Oh, the Prosperity Call. Patreon.
So it's called The Desire Map. It's by a woman named Danielle Laporte. And it's one of those books that ended up in our library somehow. And it's got some good stuff in it, mainly going along with what we're talking about today. So what I'm going to read, she's talking about we want freedom from, like I add things to my books. You could write in books, ladies and gentlemen. Please.
Yes, you can.
So I wrote freedom from and then staying true. So the freedom from is... It's surprising how often, once you're aware of this, when you hear this, start noticing how often you let fear-based motivators make your decisions for you. So here we go. The great fear-based motivators of human nature. What other people think of me? I better do what makes me look good. What other people want from me? I better give them what they expect. What other people can give to me, I better play nice to get what I want. Oh, it's horrible, folks. And I know that because anytime I dip into this, it seems like the reasonable way to live, but it feels so bad.
Yeah. It takes courage to say no to the bad stuff when it feels like this is rationally what I should do.
Yeah, because but look what happens. Everyone comes together because everyone's on the same page.
Yes.
When we're pretending, everyone feels bad, but we think we should all keep pretending, like your experience in the classroom and the
Zoom call
and the last day of school. So it says your goals are based on avoiding pain when you're focused on getting something so that you don't lose out. How many people do that? Fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. FOMO.
Yikes.
Oh, I better do it. Kirky was just talking to me about this.
Yeah.
He was saying, well, this could lead to something. And I go, those are my famous last words.
My wife, I think it was my wife, said the same thing recently. Yeah.
This could lead, you know what? You never know. This could lead to something.
Yeah.
This death. It never leads to anything.
Yeah, you and I went through a period where we really kicked that out of our psyche to realize like that is never a good motivator.
The other one is faux po, fear of other people's opinions. But here we go. Mm-hmm. So here are the fears, that we do. Okay, your goals are based on avoiding pain when you're focused on getting something so that you don't lose out, you don't get penalized, you look good to avoid risking humiliation. That's like you put your hand out instead of, I don't need to risk humiliation. But we're never humiliated when we follow our confidence.
Right.
You don't disappoint people. I don't want to upset them. You can get people to do what you want them to do. These are the wrong motivators. Of course, okay, so then it goes, the problem with avoiding pain is that your energy, because that's what these are. I'm avoiding a perceived pain.
Right.
That's not even existent. I'm making it up. That I'm going to get scolded or I'm going to be humiliated. What if I'm wrong? Everyone's going to laugh at me. Mm-hmm. So the problem with avoiding pain is that your energy is always constricted. And doesn't it feel that way? Like when you're in a room and you think, I know I do.
Yep.
I think I should say, no, better not. And I feel my body go like
oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
But my mind will tell me that, no, because you don't need to say anything. Like,
Well, it's hard too when you're in a
horrible.
room full of other people. It can be more challenging when you're in a room full of other people who are all thinking the same thing, and it becomes like, this seems like it's the thing we do here.
Yeah.
And everyone in the room is like having an issue with their colon, their heart, like as a result of living this way, this restricted way of living,
So it says, the problem with avoiding pain is that your energy is always constricted, so you're more uptight and less trusting. It actually makes me less trusting.
Yes.
And this kind of stress inhibits your love, your creativity, and your access to your soul.
Yeah.
What's more, when you've been running to avoid the whip, that's what fear-based motivation is. When you get to your goal, it'll be bittersweet. Because if you got to fight to get it, you're going to have to fight to keep it. Meaning, if you don't feel good during the journey, when you get to the end, you're not going to feel good.
That's right. That's right.
As Lily Tomlin put it, the trouble with the rat race is that even if you win, you're still a rat. So wait, what do we want to stay true to? And that's the positive drive.
Yeah.
If your choices elicit a full-on yes to any of the following questions, then you're choosing from a place of true creative power. Try these on for size when weighing a particular decision. Is this moving me forward? You know what I mean? Is this moving me forward? Do I feel more like myself?
Yeah. Well, when you say moving you forward, what do you mean? Because I don't think it means the same thing that some people think it means, because you just did some kind of
It means,
gesture.
it's more of being all you can be. And it goes along with the second one. Do I feel more like myself? Moving me forward in the direction I feel inspired to go. Not trying to make it happen.
Right, because it could be, is this moving me forward up the ladder or up this, is it, because obviously that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about moving me forward, in the direction of, like you said, what feels good to me and becoming more of myself and expressing more of who I am.
And you will move up the ladder in one way or the other. I know I have when I'm true to this. It may not be in a corporate, rank elevated, but it'll be in the things that make me feel more free as myself. Like we touched on this last week, or maybe it was on the prosperity workshop. When I was in the military, I could have studied to move up a rank. Right. I mean, I had the option to move up a rank, but I also had a choice to make. Moving up the rank, because I was never motivated by medals, career, moving up. I was always motivated by my lifestyle. Yeah. Meaning the freedom, the things that I'm most comfortable with enjoying.
Enjoying life.
Enjoying life.
Being of service.
Yeah, the things I enjoy.
Being true to yourself.
Yeah, and being true to myself did not mean, I better go up in rank because everyone else is. And by not going up in rank, I was living the best life for me in my position. I mean, I wasn't a higher ranking by stripes on my sleeve, but my position in the job I had, living in Hawaii, working with the prosecuting attorney, that was way more moving, like it says, moving forward for me than me going up a rank and doing a specific job in the Coast Guard somewhere else. Right. Because this was moving me forward in the way I was enjoying to move forward.
Yes. You're not even using the ladder anymore. You're using this inner guide.
Yes.
Which is not about being above or below. It's just expressing more of who you are and tapping into your divine birthright to live a prosperous life, and it can come in amazing ways.
Yes. And here's another one. This is making choices based on on what really is you. Yeah. Does this clear the way for more good stuff to show up? Because sometimes a choice may be saying no more to this, or I don't want to do that. Being able to say no when it's not a hell yes.
Yes.
Will I sleep peacefully tonight?
Right.
Or would my kid or grandma or best friend be proud of me?
Yeah.
That's different from everybody being proud of me. So, and she reminds us to slow down, center yourself to be sure you're being honest with yourself and answering these questions. If you're gripping on to a certain dream, you can easily breeze through something like this and fool yourself. Just a few minutes to tune into yourself or to work with these questions with a trusted friend can make all the difference in your clarity.
All right. Let me share some postcards, will you? Dear Darrell and Ed, this is from Grace Deathridge.
That's a nice one.
Hop on YouTube, subscribe to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. You can see what I'm talking about here. On holiday in Holland, found a picture and words for you. I cannot help thinking that the best way of knowing God is to love many things and love this friend, this person, this thing, whatever you like, and you will be on the right road to understanding him better. Love with a sublime, genuine, profound sympathy, with devotion, with intelligence, and you must try all the time to understand him more, better, and yet more. And that's from Vincent van Gogh.
You know what's amazing? Ed told me about that postcard, about this quote, because you never hear quotes like this from Van Gogh.
Right.
And ironically, I stuck a Van Gogh quote in my morning routine book.
Yes.
And this is what he said. And Ed's like, holy cow, that's the same thing. This is also from Van Gogh. The more I think about it, the more I feel that there's nothing more genuinely artistic than to love people.
Wow, that's amazing. And look at this from Lois Conklin. She says, a quote from John Muir, and into the forest I go. I lose my mind and find my soul, sending love and joy to all in this beautiful summertime. And with you every week on YouTube. I do like to see you all in person. Been your friend for 1 year now. Such joy fills my heart. In its love and care, in his love and care, Lois Conklin. And one more from Lois, which says, when you find peace within yourself, you become the kind of person who can live at peace with others. That's by the Peace Pilgrim. A wonderful story of a lady who walked for peace. If you don't know about her, info is available online. She's passed on, but her message is still there. Happy week to you all and your listeners. Love to all from Lois Conklin.
Okay. I'm just going to wrap up this quick thing that happened to me last night, because that postcard is the nail on the head of being all you can be, meaning self-acceptance is all of it. When we accept ourselves as we are, nothing bothers us.
Right.
Nothing. Everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment we doubt who we are and start non-accepting ourselves, it's hell on earth.
Yeah.
And just to show you that we're not just the presidents of the hair club for men. We're actually clients.
That's right.
I mean, we actually have to use this stuff on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, last night, one of my friends, I go, it's safe, I'm relaxing. I met with Ed. We went over with the readings, the show. We're fired up to have Meloni in the studio.
Right.
I mean, there's not a cloud on the horizon until I looked at Instagram. And I saw a friend of ours who was on the show.
Yep.
So I might as well let the cat out of the bag.
Bruni.
Stephen Bruni. And he's got a picture with a guy standing next to him saying, it's great doing my tattoo work. I get to meet interesting people like so-and-so.
Right.
So something about this told me, you do not want to dig deep on this. Yeah. I always have that hunch.
Right.
And then this is where, no, check it out. And I knew for some reason it was like, alcoholics shouldn't take that first drink, but they go, this one won't hurt me.
Right.
Well, that's what happened. So I look at this guy's Instagram, the guy he took a picture with, who gave a tattoo. Because I'm like, why is Bruni making a big deal out of this guy? He looks ordinary,
Right. So
I take a peek, and right at the top, 1 million followers. I'm like, oh no, who is this guy?
Fashion icon.
He starts talking. So he's the same. So in a nutshell, here's a guy the same age as me, perfectly manicured face, hair, beard. Yeah.
Sleeves.
Yeah, he's got
tattoos.
And every picture of this guy.
Perfectly lit.
Like they're like out of magazines, and he's like all over the world wearing different clothes. Ed loved some of his outfits.
Oh yeah, baggy.
All sorts
kilts.
Yeah, you name it. But like he's in Milan, he's on a boat, he's in a yacht, you know.
Milano.
It's everywhere. He's at this fashion show, and I'm like, I wasted my life. I'm the same age as this guy. He has a private doctor, comes in, gives him growth hormone, like hormonal treatments.
Nice.
And I'm going, look at me. I look like a... What do I look like? I don't know. I look like a cross between Jimmy Durante and Carol O'Connor when I see myself. So I'm like, what the heck? What's the point? And I go through all this, and he gets a painting. Oh, I always wanted a painting from this artist, and the painting is just similar enough to what I do. And I go to that guy's thing, and now, of course, because once your mind switches to that other vibration,
yep,
everything now is going to be in that vibration.
That's right.
This is what we got to remember. Because now I'm looking at this artwork he bought, now I'm looking at that artist page, now all that is better than what I do.
Right.
This guy's selling artwork. What's the use of anything?
Right.
Well, the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, like Ed said, this is why we have friends on the same path, to remind us who we are, even when we don't want to hear it, because we're still believing, what's the point? You know?
Right.
But I had a nice talk, and with Stephen Tom Thorpe, looked at that guy's page and immediately started laughing like you did.
Yeah.
He's wearing, what is that, a dress he's wearing? What is that? And he goes, you don't want to be, do you really want this guy's life?
Right.
Like having to stop everything when you're on vacation and have your friends take perfect photos of you?
Right.
Because you know how horrible, you wouldn't want to hang around with this guy. I go, I know. But something in my mind was in that vibration. I woke up this morning, I'm doing my routine, and everything can become weaponized. You got to realize it's not you, it's not true. It's just a vibration, like our mind gets in a frequency.
Yes.
Because even these spiritual books I was reading in...
the one you just read
one I just read from, and of course I happen to read, well, if you're doing things for, 10 years or so and nothing's happening, maybe it's time to try something, give it up.
Right.
To me it said, okay, Darrell, it's just about everything you've been doing in your life, because I made everything not
Yeah, because you were
successful.
you were out of that vibration of being all you could be. Your mind didn't even know who you were.
I didn't know
time,
who I was.
But it thought it did.
And this is the thing. So I finally started to come out of this, and you got to do the morning routine, folks, because if I didn't do this morning routine, you may be going, oh, well, listen to him. He's doing a morning routine. It still feels bad. Yeah, I started my morning routine. I didn't even realize my mind was in this frequency. But reading these books and having something, to do in the morning that I look forward to, the frequency started to change. It's like the radio signal.
Yep.
I was actually turning the dials without realizing it, like
right.
And this isn't conscious. It happens. So it got better, and I wrote in my book, today I surrender to your will. I give up judging myself harshly because I'm comparing myself to others and my imagination of perfection. So I just gave into it, and I started drawing. I drew a little, like a droopy version of myself, like depressed. And I wrote about it, what's the point? And just drawing that started to make me feel really good.
Uh-huh.
And then I just added my dog at the bottom, looking up at me, and I wrote with a little arrow, the point.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, everything changed. I told Lori about it. We started to laugh. And I started falling like back in love with my life. But this is it, folks. At any moment, we can live that movie.
That's right.
That Christmas movie.
That's right.
What's the title of it with George Bailey? It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
This is what it's talking about. It's not talking about some big real catastrophe. It may be, but it will always come around when we have just a little bit of faith and we're willing to accept it. Because in any moment, when we tune into the negative, fearful, comparing, and all that stuff, that vibration, it's impossible to access the feel-good vibration, like instantaneously. But just know that if you're willing to get there by doing the tools will work, Once it clicks back in, I swear to God, I was laughing about it. Me and Ed were talking about it on the ride.
Yep.
And we were dying of laughter on the phone on our way here.
Yeah.
It really is a vibration we get into. And here's the other good news. Well, what if I attract horrible things when I'm in that vibration? Well, the good news is the negative vibration is mainly internal, and it's not as powerful as a positive vibration.
Yeah. Well, it's completely internal. You may connect with that which is internal in other people around you,
Yes.
but once you release it from within you, like you said, it actually makes it feel even sweeter when you return to this feeling.
I know. I love my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was worth it. I was like Scrooge the night before Christmas, and all those ghosts visited me.
Yes.
In the appearance of having tattooed sleeves and facials and hair transplants.
Yeah. Well, listen up. I'm gonna give you 2 quotes from Sue Hodgson that she sent us. We're gonna do our best, and we're going to the break so we can bring in Meloni. One quote from Sue Hodgson, who sends us an email every day, says. It's from Mary Kupferle. I need some medicine, man. You're reading newfangled books. You're on Instagram. I need medicine. Mary Kupferle.
What? I didn't say that was medicine. It was hell.
I know. Mary Kupferle said, yes, dear friend, the right channels are always available to supply the answers, solutions, and information needed to lead you to the good you seek. As you consistently and repeatedly cooperate with God, giving thanks and following divine guidance step by step, you draw the best to you. This is where it comes down to. If there are times when nothing seems to work for you, when peace of mind is elusive, when your earnest prayers seem ineffective, this is the time to affirm, my good is here now.
Yes.
I give thanks for it and accept it. Turn from every concern about what you think you have been doing wrong, from criticism or judgment about how poorly you are communicating with God, and instead affirm, my good is here now. Because my good is here now is principle. It is always true.
Yes.
The crap we're thinking about ourselves is not principle. It is never true. We can stay in it as long as we want, but it will never make it true. And that's why it feels bad. And eventually it's going to make us sick in some way or bring something to our attention to get us to unhook from it.
Because it takes effort to feel bad.
That's
I
right.
have to keep thinking those negative stories to feel bad. It's like holding the basketball underwater.
The challenge is, though, once that virus of thinking takes over, it also takes effort to get ourselves back into the flow. And that's where we said morning routine is imperative. I did the same thing. Last night I was beating myself up. I had the best day yesterday and was beating myself up, but the morning routine. Sometimes I have to tell myself, no, even though my mind's going, this isn't going to do anything. This isn't going to change it. This is a long-standing pattern. I say, yeah, but right now I'm doing the thing. I have to say this consciously to myself. I am doing the thing that is bringing me back into alignment. And that voice will go, how do you know? I just know it always works.
Who told you this long-standing pattern? That's a horrible thing to say.
I know, right?
Who told you that? I want to kick him.
I learned it from watching you. All right, last quote here. Marianne Williamson, The Law of Divine Compensation. She says, putting love first, which means being all you can be, isn't a life of sacrifice.
No.
As many have been taught. Long-standing pattern. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Putting love first means knowing who you are and that you're entitled to miracles. Imagine that. You are entitled to miracles. And everyone you might be judging, they're entitled to miracles also.
That guy may end up a guest on our show.
I hope so, man.
We're going to be tickling him and hugging him.
Right? Putting love first means knowing that the universe supports you in creating the good, the holy, and the beautiful. It means knowing that you're on the earth for a purpose and that the purpose itself will create opportunities for its accomplishment. You know, I'm glad you said that last part about that fellow, because I said this to you right before we came in here. I said, it's great, actually, that this guy is doing the things the way he is. Yeah. But I wouldn't want you doing it that way. That would be ridiculous.
Maybe that's why I felt bad.
Yeah, because when we try to compare ourselves and put on someone else's life, it doesn't mean their life is wrong for them. But when we try to put it on, it's ill-fitting for us, and that's really the problem. By the way, thank you, Jeff Comfort, out in Kansas City, Kansas, because each week you take us right into the comfort zone. Yeah. Indiana Fawcett over here at CHOBO Studios. How you doing today?
Doing great. Loving the show. This is probably the longest first segment we've ever had. This is amazing. You're
I know.
fire.
Oh, thank you, sir. CHOBOstudios.com if you want to be part of the fun. iShuttle. What is it?
PodShuttle.
PodShuttle.io if you
Thank
wanted
you.
to cut up your reels and such, like the ones you see from our show. Let's see here. Well, this has been great, man. Remember, morning routine. This is what I'm taking away. You got to do the morning routine. Because the shift, this is the beauty of it. You don't have to go out and fight the world. That's not what I did in that meeting. It's not about that at all. It's about changing the beliefs you have about who you are and your own value, and then letting the world reflect that back to you. You have to do that work on your own time, and it's not even work. It's like eating a sundae. Is that work? No, that's what this is. It's like every morning we look forward to in reading these books. The more and more we do it, because it really just it frees us from the burden of these negative thoughts that we might have been thinking for a long time. So that's really, really important, is to change the thinking. Go home. This has liberated my whole life. It's true freedom to realize I don't have to fight with anyone else to live this way. It's all about doing what's going on inside my own mind. So let's take a few breaths and then we'll get out of here. You ready? This is like
she's
Virgin Mary.
No, she's a religious icon.
Religious icon. Madonna. Excuse me. She was like a virgin. Here's what I'm told.
Oh.
All right, let's take a breath.
Okay.
We are living in a spiritual world, and I am a spiritual girl.
Oh, yeah. We are living in a spiritual world, and I am a spiritual girl.
We are living in a spiritual world, and I am a spiritual girl. All right, for crying out loud, we made it. Coming up next, somewhere in here, it tells us Jumpin Jennifer Meloni, the great Jumpin Jennifer Meloni, assures us that life is a safe place to step out beyond our doubts and concerns with today's reading and stories from her own life. Remember your crown. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from CHOBO Studios.
We're all set.
All right, we made it to the second segment, Ed,
We sure did.
of Be All You Can Be with our guest, Jennifer Meloni.
What is that saying? Hey, Meloni, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Jennifer and I have known each other a long time. We're glad you're on the show today.
Finally.
What is it? 30-something years.
Took you 30 years to
know.
get here.
30 years to get here. 30 years to get
love it.
here. Have you been enjoying the show?
I love the show. I listen every week.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what about spending time in the green room and in the control room with Indy?
This has been amazing. Indy is a pro at what he does. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So, Meloni, you're a teacher.
I am. I'm a teacher.
You do voiceover work as well?
I do voiceover work, but not for money.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not
But
yet.
you do it for the
Working
love
on
of
it.
it. That's what the
I
show's
do.
all
I
about.
do.
It doesn't
Yeah.
even matter.
I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Meloni sent me a little voice memo of her reading a chapter from my book, and I thought, oh my God, this is way better than me. In a good way. I was like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. I've heard other chapters of different things you've read in the county where we have a WhatsApp music group. Jennifer also has an amazing singing voice. And we got her to dust that off over the last couple of years.
Definitely.
We had a WhatsApp group where we share songs during COVID, and it's just been amazing. That's kind of how we reconnected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Facebook.
yeah, Facebook. And then I told you, why aren't you on the county?
Immediately.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
She also sang a request I had for that song. Can you
Which
tell
one?
the title? You sang?
Mama's Broken Heart.
Yes.
Yes.
Miranda
Yeah.
Lambert.
That's right. That's right.
One
That
of my
was-
faves. Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. So, the title for today's show, Be All You Can Be, is amazing because I know you've continued to step out boldly in your own life over the last several years. Always, but I know
Yes.
you've been stepping out boldly. So when you've been listening, is there anything that's been popping up in terms of what we've been sharing and what came up for you?
100%. I was just saying that I just got this book, brand new medicine. So in my morning routine, I usually read from something like this, something inspiring. And you guys were talking, and the first chapter actually is about fear.
Now let's just tell people what the title of this book
title is May Cause Miracles, a 40-day guidebook of subtle shifts for radical change and unlimited happiness by Gabrielle Bernstein.
I love that because it really is just subtle shifts that cause the radical change and unlimited happiness.
And unlimited happiness. Yeah.
Nice.
So this is a 40-day guidebook that's a very like step by step, I think, just like looking at it. I wasn't sure what it was. Somebody recommended and I just blindly purchased.
That's how we often do
That's
it.
how we do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was calling to me, so I did it. I was like, yeah, this is my next, because I was just finishing up one and I was like, okay, this is my next morning reading routine. So in this book, I think she teaches exactly what to do. Like week by week, you need your journal, you need your meditation, you need your subtle positive thinking shifts.
Yes.
Kind of like rewriting your story, So week 1 is all about becoming miracle minded. And her very first thing that she says is fear. False evidence appearing real. Yep, that's right. When you focus on fear, it becomes your reality. And that's so true. It's so true. When you focus, like the thing that you focus on, the thing that you speak out to the universe, the thing that you're thinking is your reality. And so when you get in that downward spiral of, oh, I'm not good enough, I'll never be this and I'll never be that, and oh, maybe when I lose 10 pounds, then I'll be able to do that. Like maybe if I put some makeup on before I go out, no one will judge me. But it's not true. None of that stuff is true. So it's just your fear of what other people are going to think, or your fear of disappointing the so-and-so, or your fear of whatever it is, your fear of missing out. And it's what people have been telling you, or more importantly, what you've been telling yourself your entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Your entire life, you've been telling yourself this story that you're not good enough. When the truth is, you're perfect exactly as you are. You have within you all these miracles, and you can make your own magic. And you should. That's what you should be doing. And I'm not saying you do it every second of every day, because yes, it takes a little bit of work to rewrite your story. So as long as you're not guided by fear, which for some people they think, oh yeah, that sounds amazing, and like they don't understand. They think it's all woohooery. Right? Woohooery, that's one of my favorite words.
Yes.
But this kind of book is perfect because it really takes you through step by step, because some people who are living in their perfect right now, right in this moment, it's hard for them to say how they got there.
Right.
And for a lot of people, they're back in that state of constant fear, just
right.
And when you're in that state, man, is it easy to give up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just give it up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, because another acronym for fear is F everything and run. But the good one that I use when I feel like, I was just thinking about it, in like the situation you were in that district meeting where you raised your hand instead of just going, okay, she already talked, I don't need to say anything, hopefully this will be over soon, which would be my thinking.
Yeah.
But this acronym is when I use it as a motivator, which is face everything and recover, meaning, or recover my own sense of self.
Yeah.
And that kind of motivates me. Wait, I don't want to miss out. I want to face this thing.
That's right.
And then I can look forward to, in what wonderful way is this going to work out? Because every time we approach things with faith, the opportunity for something miraculous to happen in that situation, like it did for you, like it always does, happens. So those are a couple of the other acronyms that I've used over the years, because my tendency is F everything and run, which can mean shut down. But it really is hard sometimes to grasp until you look at it that it is false evidence, because it's my own imagination that's making up the thing that maybe I heard as a kid or a teacher told me years ago, and now these things become the subconscious guides.
Right.
You know, or I better not ask for what I want because I don't want to be humiliated, or I might not get it. You know, so I'm not going to bother, or I may not ask for help because I don't want to seem like a burden. Or I'm like, I don't need to return these things. They were under $5. But really because I'm afraid of the confrontation of doing. See, so face everything and recover. No, let's see how this works out. I will return this thing even though it's a $5 item or a $3 item. And it opens up the door to so many amazing things. Something so insignificant as going to return something that you were kind of telling yourself, I don't need to return it because it was cheap, when really I didn't want to return it because I was afraid of returning something.
Right.
But when we face everything and we recover our life, our sense of self, it's almost like, oh my God, Ed, you're not going to believe who I met.
Right.
We're at the Home Depot, and I wasn't going to return this because it was only a few bucks, and I didn't want to deal with returning, which meant I'm afraid of returning it. You know, and this all came from bad authority figures in our past that caused these unreasonable fears. But once you realize that they're just unreasonable fears, then I get to encourage myself to go through it, because it's not the same thing anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be yelled at or humiliated. That just because that happened when I was very young, it's not true now.
That's
right. But
right.
I'm making it feel really true, and that's what kind of restricts us.
100%.
Well, it doesn't have to be true. And when you're in that space where you're feeling confidently you can understand that if that does become the exchange that you have with someone else, it's not anything about you. It's not about you.
Right.
It's about their perception and where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, like that person that you're judging or they're judging you, they're entitled to their own miracles and their own magic as well.
Right.
So it's very hard to put yourself even in somebody else's feelings and thoughts and perceptions when you're not feeling truly yourself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So if you could just have like a little bit of empathy, and sometimes that is what causes those miracles to happen.
Well, I actually will take it a step further, and I'll say I actually invite those reactions.
Oh, I agree.
Because Ed's even shared, I was shared, if I'm going hat in hand worried about how someone's going to react, well, they're going to act in a way that I was worried about. But when I go with my attitude, I'm going to face everything and recover, and I don't mean with bravado. I mean, I wonder what wonderful way, with God's love, this is going to work out. Those people respond accordingly. That is the motivator and the incentive for me. Because if I'm just doing it thinking, oh, well, I'm going to do it, but they might yell my head off, I can't do it. I got to live in a fairy tale life, folks. If this stuff isn't fairy tale, I'm out of here. And I've proven over like 30-something years, both things are true. How if I approach something with my hat in hand, meaning I'm going to face this, you know, even if they bite my head off, they're going to bite my head off. And I could tell myself, okay, well, I'm not going to take this personally, but it's going to hurt. It's going to cause, I mean, unless you're Superman, you know, and I've seen the best of them, even police officers that I worked with that could deal with the worst of it. And I go, wow, that didn't affect him at all. But if I'll talk to him later, I go, yeah, that really got me down with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
It does get, but he'll also say, but you know what? I approached this guy in this way, so the reaction, I think I might have, you know, it really is spiritual. It really, life is really a mirror.
Yeah.
It may sound horrible to some people to hear that, but I had to learn that the hard way. And I mean, thank God it beat me to submission to the point where I said, okay, I give up.
Right.
But the best part is once you can tap into the spiritual realm, life really is a wonderful adventure in faith.
That's right.
Because we do get there's a great quote by Butterworth. He says, we don't get what we pray for, and we don't get even what we want or what we pray for, but we always get what we expect. And sometimes I'll expect the worst, but I'll cover it up with a bravado. You know what I mean? I'll push through because that's what we do. But then I'm going to get it. So I have to either I won't return that item until I'm fully I'm ready to face everything and feel good about it. Because if I go with any other mood and I'll put it off, I've put off a return for many, many weeks. But then when I feel that sweet spot, I'm going to go return this today. And I'm feeling the high.
Right.
It's the perfect time.
Yeah.
That's right.
I can't push this stuff and I can't override it. But the great thing is we could always tap into it. And when we tap into it, like she says, miracles happen. And it really is, an unlimited happiness in those events because I'm proving to myself that the spiritual realm is for real.
Right. It's about I heard a couple things that you said. One of the main things I've learned is that it's about your willingness to accept that. Your willingness to accept the miracle within you.
Right.
Like, honestly, you just have to know that it's there. I think a lot of people forget because they stifle who they really are. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about this out of fear. Out of fear of whatever it is. Is it trauma based? Is it this? Is it that? It could be any of those things. It doesn't really matter until you deal with it. It's always going to be there, but then you have to forgive yourself and accept that the magic is there. You already have everything in your soul to make these miracles happen. You already do. And it is a very spiritual experience, for sure.
Yeah, I'm with it, man. I agree with all of this. I think it could be part of a natural process. At first, I used my spiritual tools to make it through stuff that I wasn't able to make it through. But then there comes a point where you go, well, why am I even making myself go through stuff? The other day, there was someone absent, an assistant, and that assistant covers for a student who is in this room with this woman who is pretty bullyish, in her approach to things, or kids and staff. And so in the past, I thought, I gotta find a way to be spiritual enough to be loving to her, and always be there, be able to face her, and but I've been saying no more to things that feel bad and yes to things that feel good. So when I found out that his aide was absent, the teacher who who I work with, who kind of schedules a lot of this stuff, was like, can you go, can you cover? And I just found myself saying, I don't want to go in there. And because she and I are close also, we're very frank with each other, it's in a friendly, loving way. So I just said out loud, not really to her, I just said, admitted, I don't want to go in there. Within 10 seconds, Mr. Vasquez, a good friend of mine who listens to the show, walks in. I got time to work with you guys today. I'm just floating around. And he did that on his own. He didn't have to because he had another assignment, but he's like, I got these, so can I help you guys? And he did it. And he's not the type of guy that gets influenced by people like that. So saying no to the things is it's a whole nother level. The other day I was going to go surfing after work, and I had to do another Zoom thing. And I wanted to surf, and I was like, I bet I could take this Zoom on the road, And I took the Zoom on the road. I knew the waves were going to be good, so I took the Zoom on the road. I'm driving through Malibu. They're playing this Jeopardy game for this whatever we were studying. It was actually kind of fun. We're answering things, but I was my turn, and then all of a sudden the Zoom went dead, because I was in this bad area and it was connecting. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna bless it. The angels are with me. There's no disconnection in God. I was affirming these truths that I am eternally connected, and then sure enough, I get right through Malibu, and then comes back on, and then like within 30 seconds, it's my turn again, and no one even knew that I had been
isn't that amazing?
absent. Yeah, and then this thing could have gone for a couple hours. As soon as I park where I was gonna surf, he's all right. That's all I have for you. Like literally, as soon as I backed in and stopped the car, that's all I have for you. So then I get my stuff, and there's a ton of cars because it was like the first good swell, the first good weather of the year, and I started thinking, well, I'll put up with the crowd, whatever. And I started saying, that's not what I want, though. Why would I affirm that? So I just took my time walking down. I was like, what would I want? Like no one out, just good waves. I get there, there's 2 guys out. It's like everyone else was walking by to go to a beach down the road. I get there, there's 2 guys out. 3 guys out, which is nothing in LA for a beach, especially with the good waves. So then my friend who I was going to meet there, this guy who hired my son as I don't tell everyone about this place because there's not a lot of people that surf there, and it's in LA. But I told him because he's got such a good energy, and he's the guy who gave my son his internship. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell this guy. He will actually appreciate it, and it's the least I could do. So he paddles out. So for the last hour, everyone got out except us in LA. It's just so mind-blowing. But it was just, the thing that made it meaningful was not like, it's just that. It was that I turned everything over to God. I trusted, like you said, that I'm worthy of the miracle. That's actually what life is always attempting to get to me, is the good. It's never a struggle. That all of that is born out of someone misunderstanding something. So the wind died, the beautiful houses, that it was everything turned, and my buddy's going, this is as good as it gets, So that was amplifying my feeling of love. So it is like what Darrell was saying, that it's so spiritual that whatever we believe we must put up with, we do put up with.
Yeah, and I don't want to put up with it
anymore.
anymore.
And when we realize there's no reason, there's no universe,
virtue in that.
And there's no head somewhere thinking that's keeping track and saying, yes, you have to put it. It's actually quite the opposite. It will, the universe, which really means one song, universe means one song. This harmonious miracle that's happening all around us will give us as much good as, like Meloni said, as much good as we are willing to accept. And that's sometimes the hardest part. How much can I forgive myself? How much can I stop telling myself these nightmares? Because
I don't deserve it, so I might as well go here.
And I was thinking, part of what I used to think, I'm not good at data. I'm not a data person. But you know what? I was really good at math in school. I took calculus early. I did all this stuff. And what I'm not good at is this phony version of data that people use. They misquote data. They misquote studies. Someone else told them it. But now that I'm listening more closely I do know, this lady was quoting studies. And as I listened, they were so decontextualized from what the actual study was that the information was useless to what we were talking about. But these people who speak as experts but are not really speaking as experts, they're not really using the data the way it was meant to be used. They're not using the studies the way they were meant to be used. And they're spreading fear-based lies under the fear-based misunderstandings, but with the gravity of someone who's supposed to be an authority figure. That's what, for me, speaking up at that meeting too, you've helped me, like you're always encouraging me. I want to consult with school districts. I don't want to be a cog in the wheel anymore. So this gave me an opportunity to speak to a consultant, but kind of like call them out, like, no, like if you're going to consult and you're going to use this data, it's got to at least be meaningful. And it made me think about like when we were younger, when adults yelled at us, we thought God's yelling at me because I'm being bad.
Yeah.
But what we didn't see was someone had yelled at that adult and scared them, and they were afraid, and their fear turned into them pretending to be authority. But it was fear, because that's a twist. If we saw them as, I'm scared, I'm sorry, I'm just scared today, that would be one thing. But it's not that. It's inside there's a scared person, but the outside is pretending to be someone who's an authority. What was it? Fear is an adult. What was the seriousness?
No, serious. Yeah, seriousness is just fear pretending to act like an adult.
Yeah, we live in so much of this world where, God, no, people like want to get back to living in harmony with the indigenous cultures, but they have to realize that those were primarily spiritually based cultures. Yes. you're not going to get back to living that way through heads telling you, you got to say this, you got to act like this. These were spiritually based cultures who laughed and danced and sang and shared and were blown away by the mystical quality of life. And that's exactly what New Thought and what these teachings that we're sharing. It's mystical. It's crazy. And it lights us up with joy, and it refuels our spirit when we live this way. It really does. The truth that sets us free. It's amazing.
Well, especially since you actually get concrete results.
Oh my
That's the best evidence of it.
The mystical turns out to be the most scientifically accurate. Because the mystical is the science of the principles that are behind the universe. They're actually tapping into the principles that make the universe work. By the way, I wanted to share a book, You Too Can Be Prosperous by Robert Russell. Nancy Norman recommended this on her unityjoyoflife.org is the name of her website, her ministry. There's a Infinite Prosperity course every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific or 7 a.m. Eastern. It's basically 7 a.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. On Thursdays. Those are the Eastern times, but 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. Pacific time. We go every Thursday although she's taken this week off. But this book here, I Am Prosperous, You Too Can Be Prosperous, the affirmation that he uses is I am prosperity. It's not even I am prosperous.
No, I am prosperity.
I am the prosperity of the universe. It's and on the back, you wanted me to read it. It just says, that's it. I am prosperity. That's it. You just took the first step towards a prosperous life. By saying these 3 simple words, you open the window of prosperity in your mind. The energy your thoughts create as a result of this time-tested concept is so big, so powerful, and so irresistible that your life will become a magnet, attracting success, employment, and wealth of every sort directly to you where it belongs.
And it's by, who is it by?
By Robert A. Russell. I got it. I got it for relatively cheap off of Amazon recently. So it's called You Too Can Be Prosperous by Robert A. Russell. I really recommend that book.
And Ed's wearing a fancy this was an amazing story.
So
my wife does photos. She's the photographer of Best Friends Animal Society. So when she's in a pinch and she needs to do product shots, she'll get her friends like Darrell, Ed, and Stephen Tomthorpe to model for her. And
I think we talked about this last week where my friend from the summer school came by. Yeah.
It's so amazing. And the irony is the fact that Ed got to wear the shirt turned out to be like the shot is for a catalog to advertise the shirt, but Ed himself actually became an actual advertisement and for someone who went and bought the shirt.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Right, because I was still wearing the shirt afterwards.
Right after the photo was taken.
Yeah, the barista at Starbucks.
Yeah.
She's like, that's the coolest shirt ever. And she wanted to know all about it. She wants to model for Lori. She wanted the website. It's amazing. So it's called, if you want to support Best Friends LA, which is a no-kill animal shelter. Best Friends, they're nationwide, right? Yeah. Really. And if you want to support them, they have really cool shirts. Shop.bestfriends.org. Shop.bestfriends.org. We'll put it in the link to the video and the podcast. The shirts are cool, and the proceeds go to support Best Friends, which is a no-kill animal shelter.
And if I was going to say, if you're listening, the one Ed has is little kittens, and they're rolled up like little burritos, and the campaign was Purritos. It said Purritos, and Lori actually took this photo, and the reason they're rolled up like little burritos is because when they're that young, they're just like a few days or not even a week or so old. They got to keep them swaddled, so they feel secure and confident. So there you go. That's what's on Ed's shirt.
Yep.
They look like little hand-rolled sushis.
Yeah, right. So cute. There's actually
like a rainbow too, which is so fabulous.
Yeah, it's Pride Month, so they made the Pride, rolled out the Pride merch also. And there's actually only 3 kittens, but then they flipped them and put it together to make 6.
Way.
Yeah.
But I've seen this ad on billboards for years.
It's been everywhere.
Yeah.
People magazine.
On buses.
Yeah, it's been in that photo went everywhere.
Yeah, well, Lori's very talented. I see the reading on your lap, by the way. Do you want to hop into that?
Yeah. All right.
We have a professional reader today. Jennifer Meloni.
Here I am.
Yep.
I am a spiritual being living in a spiritual world governed by spiritual law. Because God is your Father, you are a son of the Most High, holy and divine. You are a spiritual being inhabiting a spiritual body, moving through the spiritually perfect world that God has created. Do not be afraid to make this claim for yourself. Nothing is too high for a son of God to claim. Acknowledging and asserting your divine reality strengthens your realization of expression of it. Never think of yourself as less than spirit or as being limited in wisdom, health, love, or substance. You are lifted above any law of disease, discord, or lack because you are governed by one law alone, the law of God's unchanging will of good in all that concerns you. Do not think of the world about you as filled with adversities, but as a spiritual world in which evil has no existence. Because you are spirit and under the dominion only of spirit, you are transcendent over all claims of the flesh, and you are free, wise, triumphant. It is not written in your law, I said, ye are gods. John 10:34. That's powerful stuff.
It is.
Yeah, powerful.
This show just made me realize this is the say no and yes when you mean it.
Yeah.
If you don't feel comfortable with something, say no.
Yeah.
And if you feel comfortable with something, say yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
I just heard
But
that.
when you do it, you're gonna get the, because like that was saying, I was thinking, like anything I'm going that needs to be done by me, that I'm apprehensive about, the F everything and run, or face it.
Face everything and recover.
Recover. It's like that said that everything has good in store for us when we're true to that be all you can be. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Right.
Yeah.
And I could say no. It's hard to say no when we think.
Someone just said no as a complete sentence. Who was that? Just
Mike
recently.
Dugan.
Mike
He
Dugan.
used to tell me that. Because I go, well,
Brilliant.
what am I going to tell him? He goes, Darrell, just tell him no. I said, yeah, but he goes, Darrell, no is a complete sentence.
Yeah, so it's so true. I mean, that, and I think it's so funny. I was working with like the same kid that I love the kid that I had Mr. Vasquez cover for. Don't get me wrong, that kid, he is amazing. But when he doesn't want to do something because he's trying to avoid it, he's overwhelmed. He he'll freak out. So I was just like, I wanted him to calm down and just, because as much as he'll freak out, if I'm firm and just, no, we're not going to freak out. I have to say no, we're not doing that. Like, this is nothing for you to be afraid of. You're too smart to be afraid of this. So I was grabbing this laptop because he's trying to just spam the letter A. So he has to just get through the test. And I'm like, no, I really want people to see how smart you are. So I'm grabbing it and he's going, and I'm going, I hear you're frustrated. We're going to do it. And he's going, and then finally he goes, okay. And because I know him and we trust each other, and I know that I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm actually saying, no, you don't need to do all that.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Right.
I want the best from you. So when his aide came back in, she's new and she's kind of sensitive and she's amazing and she's very receptive to guidance and thankful for it. So I just said, look, Miss O, what I need you to do, don't worry about being rude. You need to pull that thing away from him if he tries to go fast. We don't just tell him, I hear that you're frustrated, and just take the thing away. And it's the same for me. It's okay, Ed. I need you to be rude. I need you to not be afraid to say no and look like you're being rude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Ed, you need to be true to you, and I need people to see how amazing you are. And that old way of either freaking out or going along and being none of that is going to do. You need to say no when it's a no. Otherwise, forever, you're never going to know where you belong, and you're always going to be putting up with stuff that doesn't feel good for you, and you're never going to have power and authority in your life, you know? So I've been saying a lot more no's, and it's amazing. The universe is like singing triumphantly, like, wow. And I'm like, oh, wow, I forgot how easy life is supposed to be.
Well, you know, you did something that we should share, how you reframed it in that situation, because that's important. Do you remember? I can tell you because I remembered.
Okay, great.
Because it's profound, because it works. So when you were telling me the story originally, this is the story about you in that room where the consultant was just some, you know, hired.
Yeah.
Who really had no clue, you know, an outsider, and that going on. And you said, wait a minute, why am I afraid? I talk like this on our show all the time.
Yeah.
Why would I not talk like that here?
Right.
Like, why does this venue make me stifle myself?
That's right.
When the real me is the me on the show, where I don't feel afraid to express these ideas.
Right.
So why would I be afraid? So I just treated it like I was talking to you. You were saying me, and we were on the show. And it was met with the positive reception,
100%,
because you were really being true to the you know you enjoy being, the real you.
Yes.
And that's something we can all do, because the fear in those situations is an old idea of some authority figure from years ago.
Yeah.
But if there's arenas where we feel really confident, well, play that game with yourself.
Yeah.
Wake yourself, wait a minute. If I was talking to my friends right now, or if I was doing this other thing that I'm confident,
wherever it is you feel good about being
yourself,
and you trust your wisdom and your enthusiasm.
I mean, this is not easy to do. I have to do this to myself all the time. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's thrilling and it's rewarding, because you will be met positively when you're your true self that you're able to be in another arena, and you bring it to an arena where the false evidence you're telling yourself is appearing real.
Right.
Because it's incredible. It always works out this way, positively. Like another thing, like some people go, well, what would Jesus say? That's another little tool, like in this situation.
Right.
You know, they use that. Well, what would Jesus say? Would Jesus do this? No, Jesus would probably say, come on, we could take care of that. You know, be more kind and considerate. But whatever works is enough to activate that miracle within to come out, and that's it.
Because you want your best material, right? You want to bring out your best material. And that's exactly. And I had the day that I spoke up at that meeting. One, afterwards I spoke. After I spoke, one, I was being cheered on because I could see my staff going yes. But for two, I had to actually keep telling myself. All right, after I was done, I had to keep telling myself, you didn't do anything wrong, Ed, because there was a fear there.
Yeah.
I said, you don't have to apologize to myself. I said, you didn't do anything wrong. Just like be still, like your dad, like in like a mafia style negotiation, like. Don't say another word. Just let it hang. Like sometimes we say our best stuff and then we like apologize our way out of it. Just let it breathe, because then it will. Then let the energy go out there and do its job, and then just see what happens. Because the next day, like after that meeting, I had written a quick email to my friend Abby, thanking her for her wisdom, her enthusiasm, and her rebellious spirit. The next day, I went in to like give her a high five and thank her again. She gave me a hug and she said I don't know what it was, but she's like, I have to tell you, I'm looking forward to hearing it. She said, I have to tell you my backstory, because I was in tears when I read your email, and I even read it to my husband. Something I had written just by intuitively had like really touched a chord with her. And the reason why I was able to step up boldly at that second meeting is because I had an earlier meeting with a kid and their family and this private school team, and I had to interpret some testing I did. And that's where I first said to myself, part of me is going, oh, snap, I did the testing, but like, how am I going to interpret this? What am I going to say? What does this mean? And I go, wait a second. What would it be like if I was on the show? How would I approach this? Like, how would I, if I was with Darrell and Indy and you all, if I was with Meloni, how would I approach this? And I just like breathed on it. And then I started imagining something Nancy Norman taught us. I started imagining the white light above everyone's head, and the light of God's presence showering everyone. And before I knew it, I don't know, I delivered a very cohesive and inspiring and effective plan. And the whole team was nodding, and they got on board, and it changed the whole tone of what we were doing. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I bet. Even just that one little bit of breathing. It's amazing. Like, there's a lot of science behind the breathing. Like, that's how you guys get through everything, pretty much. You know, it's when you're stifling yourself, everything is stifled. There's pain. You're not really breathing. But when you breathe into it, it literally, it opens up that diaphragm, and it just, your whole body language changes. Like, just everything's open, and you're ready to accept, willing to find that within you. Right. And it's very healing. It's very powerful. Yeah. Very, very powerful.
So that's another simple way, like you were talking about, tapping into that feeling. It's just that simple breath, because in the simple breath, you let go of, you can't, like, holding our breath is also like trying to hold our thoughts in place and try to, so when you say that, it makes sense. You breathe, and now you let the tidal waters of God's love, like Emma Fox was writing about this week, just let the fresh energy in and trust it.
Exactly, and you let all the old energy out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like cyclical. You're letting it out, but you're also taking it in. Yeah. So it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, and the other tool is raise your eyes at a 45-degree angle. Nancy Norman has been teaching us this. There's a biblical quote, I raise my eyes to the hills from where my good comes. And there's something about, instead of looking down out of fear, look up, like at where the ceiling and the wall meet, for example. Just keep your eyes fixed there for a couple minutes while someone else is sharing.
Well, you could even do it with your eyes closed. Yeah. Like, just imagine them up, and you'll feel
There's a biochemical shift that happens there. There's a metaphysical change.
You enter the fourth dimension, they say.
And you literally, because a lot of us, when we were overwhelmed, we learned to, like, look down. And a friend of mine shared that. And when I shared this with him, he's like, wow, that immediately feels better. Look up. And it actually, that's why, like, I think that's why the yogis would, like, focus on their third eye when they're meditating. It's the same principle. You're just, like, looking up, and it activates maybe your pineal gland, or there's some things that are happening there that do give us new thoughts.
Well, we also found out that the cathedrals in Europe, even though the one in the New York, where the sermon's given is up in this little this thing, he's got to go up like a circular staircase, and those are all at a 45-degree angle from the people sitting in the pews. So it gets you to elevate and have that experience, elevate your consciousness physically by just moving your eyes up.
Amazing.
It's wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to wrap up the show. Anything else you want to share before you go, Miss Meloni?
I love you guys.
Aww. We love you too. We'd love to have you on again. There's so many more experiences I'm thinking about.
I love it. Yeah, I forgot to bring my guitar. Next time.
Next time we'll have you sing. We'll give you time to prepare. We'll hear, because you've been stepping up boldly in your career.
Absolutely.
You've had because you're an amazing teacher. You were in a classroom before, and you stepped out boldly in favor of yourself being all you can be, even though there was like the pay seemed to go down at that time. But you stepped out boldly in favor of being you. So we'll talk to you more about that next time. We do have a story from when you were a young girl in Tustin.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Share that. I think we found it on TMZ.
Really?
OC.
No, it's true. He told me about this.
Okay, you ready?
Wait, am I
excited to hear it, boys?
I'm not the
here.
Yeah.
So, when Jennifer Meloni was a young girl, she attended St. Cecilia's Church in Tustin, same church I attended, as a matter of fact. One Sunday morning after Mass, it was time for her first day of Sunday school. Her parents were surprised as she ran right into class that first day without even turning to say goodbye. You can imagine their shock when just minutes later, little Jennifer was running across the parking lot, waving them down and shouting,
"Get me out of here!"
Her parents stopped the car. "What happened?" Meloni said.
Well, you got this place all wrong.
Her parents said, "What do you mean?" Meloni replied,
You said this was Sunday school, but they don't even serve ice cream.
Sunday school. The wrong kind of Sunday. Good God.
So good.
All right, well.
Is that who I think it is?
Song. Yeah, someone, a New Yorker, right?
I don't think she's originally from New York.
New Jersey?
No, somewhere else. But she got her start in New York.
Well, you know what she used to say? These are the original lyrics. Not everyone knows these lyrics.
Yes.
But it's a popular song. I think we made mention of it.
It's a
earlier.
hymn.
It's a hymn. Is that the right pronoun nowadays?
HYMN.
Oh, got it. Well,
It's a hymn. It's a hymn.
Some prayers bless me, some prayers hug me. I think they're okay. If they don't give me proper credit, I just walk away. They can beg and they can plead, but they can't see the light.
That's right.
'Cause God will give me cold hard cash. I'm always Mr. Right. 'Cause we are living in a spiritual world, and I am a spiritual girl. You know that we are living in a spiritual world, and I am a spiritual girl. In a spiritual world.
Darrell and
Spiritual.
to find links to everything
Spiritual. Oh.
In a
Wow.
spiritual world. Did you read it?
Yeah.
'Cause we are living in a spiritual world, and I am a spiritual girl. You know that we are living in a spiritual world, and I am a spiritual girl. Yeah!
Smash the guitar.
Wow, wasn't that an amazing podcast? Well, you could do that too here at CHOBOstudios.com here in the Los Angeles area. And if you're not in Los Angeles, you could always go to PodShuttle.io. It's our fully remote editing service where we'll cut up clips, we'll edit for you, podcast management. We do it all, baby. We got the digital goods here at PodShuttle and CHOBO. We love you.